In a significant international development, Russian President Vladimir Putin has broken his silence on the escalating border conflict between Thailand and Cambodia, expressing deep concern and positioning Moscow as a potential peace broker. The Russian leader's intervention comes as fierce fighting continues for a third day along the dispute frontier, a conflict rooted in a century-old territorial disagreement. President Putin's statement, disseminated through Russian state media, called for an immediate cessation of hostilities and urged both Southeast Asian nations to engage in dialogue to find a peaceful resolution. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova elaborated on Moscow's position, attributing many global territorial disputes to the legacies of colonial policies. This framing suggests a Russian narrative that seeks to cast the West as a historical destabilizer while presenting Russia as a force for stability and peaceful conflict resolution. The Kremlin's offer of mediation underscores its ambition to expand its influence in a region where the United States and China have historically been the dominant foreign powers. By portraying itself as a neutral and responsible actor, Russia aims to enhance its geopolitical standing, particularly at a time of strained relations with the West over the war in Ukraine. A prolonged conflict between Thailand and Cambodia would not only disrupt regional stability, but also potentially hinder Russia's growing economic and military partnerships in Southeast Asia. The conflict, which centers on the demarcation of the border established during the French colonial era in Cambodia, has been a source of tension for decades. The most recent and severe flare-up was ignited by a clash on May 28, which resulted in the death of a Cambodian soldier. Since then, tensions have simmered, erupting into a full-scale military confrontation. The fighting has been particularly intense around historically significant and contested temple sites, such as the 11th century Pereira Temple. In 1962, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, awarded sovereignty of the temple to Cambodia, a decision that has been a persistent point of contention for Thailand. Subsequent ruling by the ICJ in 2013 also favored Cambodia regarding the land surrounding the temple, a judgment that continues to be a sore point in Bangkok. The current clashes, however, have expanded beyond this traditional flashpoint to other disrupted areas along the 817 kilometers shared border. The international response to the conflict has been swift and widespread, with numerous countries and organizations calling for an immediate end to the violence. The United States, a treaty ally of Thailand, has expressed grave concern over the escalating fighting and the harm to civilians. The U.S. State Department has urged a peaceful resolution and a return to dialogue. The situation presents a delicate diplomatic challenge for the administrations of President Donald Trump. While maintaining its long-standing alliance with Thailand, the U.S. is also wary of the growing influence of China in Cambodia. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth are closely monitoring the situation, and there are concerns that the conflict could evolve into a proxy struggle between Washington and Beijing. China, a close partner of Cambodia, has also called for a de-escalation and a peaceful resolution through dialogue and consultation. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has characterized the dispute as a legacy of Western colonial powers and has asserted that China will maintain an impartial stance while playing a constructive role in easing tensions. The European Union has echoed the calls for peace, emphasizing the need for diplomatic solutions through the mechanisms of the Associations of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. The 10-member regional bloc, of which both Thailand and Cambodia are members, is under significant pressure to mediate the crisis. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, the current chair of ASEAN, has been in contact with the leaders of both nations, urging them to find a peaceful path forward. The United Nations has also stepped in, with Secretary General Antonio Guterres urging utmost restraint from both sides. The UN Security Council held an emergency closed-door meeting to address the crisis, with representatives from both Thailand and Cambodia in attendance. The humanitarian impact of the conflict is severe and growing. The fighting, which has involved the use of heavy artillery, rockets, and F-16 fighter jets, has resulted in numerous casualties on both sides, including civilians. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced from their homes in both countries, seeking refugees in temporary shelters. Human Rights Watch has raised alarms about the use of cluster munitions and has called for the protections of civilians, noting that schools and hospitals have been closed due to the violence. On the ground, the situation remains highly volatile. Both Thailand and Cambodia have mobilized troops and military hardware to the border. Thailand has declared martial law in several border districts, and both nations have engaged in a war of words, with each blaming the other for initiating the aggression. Cambodia has accused Thailand of unprovoked, premeditated, and deliberate attacks and has called for the international community to condemn what it terms as Thai aggression. Thailand, in turn, has maintained that its actions are in self-defense and has urged Cambodia to seize its attack as a precondition for bilateral negotiation. The rhetoric from both sides has been nationalist and uncompromising, making a swift diplomatic resolution challenging. The conflict is further complicated by the domestic political situation in both countries, with nationalist sentiments often being exploited for political gain. The historical and cultural complexity surrounding the disputed territories, particularly the ancient temples that are a source of national pride for both nations, add another layer of difficulty to finding a lasting solution. Path forward remains uncertain, with the international community anxious watching as the two Southeast Asian neighbors stand on the brink of a wider war. Many of my listeners, like 70%, have subscribed to my YouTube channel. And so many of you don't even know that you haven't subscribed. That is actually what makes the show going. It's almost like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask again and again, because it enables us to grow and grow and grow. And we're going for the long haul here. And listen, if this is your first time listening to So Came Rich, you don't have to subscribe. You guys, your first ones on me. But if you have watched the show before, it's like you're a freeloader now. So all I would ask you is, if you have seen this show before and you like it, help me, help my team here. Hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. That I swear. Thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's all for me for today. I will see you soon. Bye for now.